What is up, everyone? Welcome back after a long time to the LFC Toronto show. Back with the regulars. We've got Mr. President Jake and Mr. Money Dan Fernandez, the treasurer. My name's Azaz. I think we need
Mr. Money.
reintroduce ourselves again. And it has been a while. Now, before we get into anything about the game, it's been a busy period for all of us, in personal stuff, whether it's work or school, like housing, like all different kinds of things have been happening while this crazy Frankenstein of a season has been going on. So that is definitely an apology from me, just that we haven't been putting out content as regular as we would want to, or we should have. However, we are back. We are quite committed to make this work back to how it used to be. So Jake, how is everything going?
I mean, we're all collectively, the six of us, especially the exec, we are 100 miles an hour. There's new jobs, new houses, there's lots of new things going on. And don't get me wrong, this is not because we were in poor form did we not do this. I just wanted to say that from the get-go. But like, we have been working on a lot of different things, which we will talk about and address and later on in this video. But nevertheless, we've been super busy, even with our poor form. So there's just a lot going on, and it's the season, it's the weather, it's a whole bunch of crap. But nevertheless, we've got some great support, and we're back. So let's get right into it and shoot the shit.
And Dan, over to you. Like, all good in your world as well?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. Just as Jake said, yeah, absolutely agree with all of that. And it's been a long time since I had that quadruple show, put it like that. And it's to think back to that time and where we are now. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I think we're a little bit on the up here, knock on wood, and a big match ahead of us in the weekend. So looking forward to it.
Amazing. So I'm going to get into a bit of a roundtable, because obviously it's hard to only talk about today, but then also we do need to talk about today and the last game and the upcoming game, and get somewhat of a regular cadence back into the show. So I'll start with Dan first, I guess. Like, give me your thoughts as to where we are, like a bit of a summary of the season. Feel free to jump into different players or thoughts or any of the above. It's a bit of a freestyle show, just so we can catch up. And then moving forward, obviously we'll do like a little bit of match review, a bit of looking forward as per the normal show. But right now we just want a little bit of a reset back to where we were. So Dan, I would love to hear how the season has panned out for you.
Yeah, this might sound really disingenuous, but I will say it anyway. I had felt even after the Champions League final that of last year that was sort of the culmination of our team. And I think what happened over the summer, how much I love Sadio, and I've had that sort of vibe for him for a long time. But also with the new blood coming in, I just felt with the Asia tour and things like that, it just felt like it was a bit of a rush. And I was kind of surprised, actually, to be honest, the Charity Shield. I thought we performed really well there. So I thought, oh, okay, well, this actually looks decent. And I thought, okay, this is a good omen, I guess, for the season. And then I remember I was in Atlantic City with my wife, and I was tuning in early that morning for Fulham, the first match of the season away, and ever since that point, it's been a bit of a sort of a gut check, I guess, or a quality check. A lot's been made of the players. Certain sections of our team and certain areas of the team have been highlighted, but that's not to like disparage them. Because if you think about it, that's 4 or 5 years of straight fire, as Jake would say. And, it's like bringing it every day, every training, every match. And, if you just think about that, 5 years worth of just sheer Jurgen Klopp, gegenpress, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. Like, I think that wears on anybody and wears on us as fans. I mean, think about it. Like, this is the thing that keep on bringing up to our WhatsApp chat, which shout out to the WhatsApp chat, is like we are by definition spoiled. And I'm not talking like Manchester City spoiled, where you get like oodles of money and you change your revenues around and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking like spoiled by the brilliance of one man, Jurgen Klopp, obviously the players and the management, Michael Edwards and folks like that. So sometimes we need a bit of a reality check. And I know we had that a couple seasons ago and we still got third and all that, but this season is a proper one. And it's almost like a reset. And I'm looking forward to a great summer off the field. And I'm positive about it. A lot of Liverpool fans there's a lot of infighting, as we know, as we sort of seen. I'm calling you guys out, whoever's watching this, and I'm saying it. I'm going to say it right now to you. I'm taking the position of being positive, and that's what I'm going to do. Jake, what about you, man? What do you think?
I echo the same sentiments. It's been such a weird season, just holistically as the Prem. Like, just no, we're not even talking about our squad, but just the whole. That did you think that the Gunners would be on top? Do you think that the losses and just the top 10 would be playing like the top 10 is playing, right?
Yeah.
And just the point totals, like just all kinds of things from that respect. And like to get to your point with respect to the fans and the chat and whatever else, it's so interesting to see, like, as a character and as people, as they're, how they look at things and do they look, so we all know what we're dealing with, right? There's no we're not trying to hide behind the truth. Is there recruitment bad? Is there injuries? And I'm not that kind of guy that say like, oh, it's because of this, it's because of this. Collectively, it is what it is. And if I would harp on the negative, which we all know, what's that going to get us? Like, what is that going to do for you as a person? And then I'm not that kind of person to spread that, but I know we've had some problem areas, and it's just this type of season for various reasons, and that's understood. And as a fan, I take the good and the bad, and that's just what I do. And again, we've been blessed for several years. Do we go back further and be the shit that we used to have? And now we got some good, and now we've got one season or maybe a season and a half of, yes, we didn't recruit properly, yes, this, that, whatever else. But again, just festering that kind of negative energy. Like, I'm not sure how these people kind of like their lives are apart from that chat, but it's just very, very eye-opening to look at the perspectives and then look at the faces. And are they keyboard warriors? No, they do this in front of our faces, into the club. And I'm astonished and shocked by the level of kind of negativity. And it's like they enjoy it, right? Like, I just don't understand the mindset of, and I'm the total opposite from that. And
yeah,
it's just a sad thing, whatever that case is. And it just puts a bad taste in everyone's mouth, right? Like in the bad experiences in the pub and bad, just overall bad. And you know what? It's their modus and that's what they do. I'm just kind of shocked by that premise. Again, we're not doing very, well this season. But on that note, like, we've won 3 games in the Prem, or a couple games in the Prem, and a tie we've got, and we're in today. I know there's games in hands with everybody else, whatever else, but I think we're in 6th place today. And so, okay, not at all. Of course, we're never going to say all is lost, of course, right? Because that's just what we do, and that's our mantra. We just fight to the end in the silver clouds and all this stuff. But I'm just, we've got a lot of footy to play, right? And like, have some faith, enjoy the moment, enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that how are you feeling?
Yeah.
It's so much to pick up on from what you folks just said. So number one, 14 games left to play. That's 42 points. That's a lot of football still left to play. So I think that's a big one. The other one is, I shared this with our overall Liverpool group as well. I was dumbfounded by the fact that over the last 12 games, how close we are to being the best team like in the league. So 12 games is normally a third of a season, or just under a third of a season, and it's half the season so far, right? And on that table over the last 12 games, which is a really big body of work to judge how a team is doing, we are joint second on points gained. So 2 teams have gained 26 points and 3 teams have gained 23 points. And we are one of the teams that have gained 23 points. Now, when you look at 23 points over 12 games, that's less than 2 points a game. So that's not Liverpool standard. That's usually not even Champions League standard. However, in this season that we're having, where people are beating everyone all the time, we said it on this channel before, like right at the start of the season, this is not going to be a 90-point season. Now, that doesn't mean that we've got 42 points left to play for. If you add what we've got now and add it to what we could get, we're going to challenge for the title, make a late title charge. Absolutely not. One game at a time, and let's see where we net out. But we have shown historically, just last season, and now just this season, over the last 12 games, that we can hang with anybody when it comes to gaining points. Now, if we were to get the same number of points in these next 14, if we were to accrue points at the same rate as we have in the last 12 games over these last 14 games, we would comfortably be in the top 4. Like, it's not even going to be that close. And the standard of being a top 4 team is completely different than the standard of being a champion when you're fighting Manchester City. Now, I don't like it. Jake doesn't like it. Dan doesn't like it. Anfield doesn't like the fact that we are not challenging for the title. Like, nobody likes that. Nobody likes the fact that Real Madrid came to our ground and mugged us off the way they did. Nobody likes that. However, if this ends up being a season where we go for 4th, you can either, to Jake's point, you can either will the team to 4th and they get 4th and you celebrate that and it ends up being like a bit of a shallow win, or you can write us off and say, no, we're going to come 6th or 7th or 8th, and then we come 4th. Like, it doesn't matter how you want to play it. At the end of the day, the team is going to do what they do. The only caveat I have to say is, I do think that there are sections of our fan base that have that influence a little bit on players, manager, vibe, culture. Like, Klopp can't say it, but like, they all want him to come out and say, I really hate FSG. He doesn't. He likes his bosses. Like, you can tell. I think that he would love to also come out and say, folks, we're not living up to your standards. We're not living up to our standards, but give us some support. I think he wants to say that, in my opinion. He would love to say that. So that's what I'll say. I'll say I'm going to back my team. I think over these next few games, there's a lot of easy games. April is awful. There's some winnable games. There's some, like, let's see what we've got. The biggest thing, sorry, Dan, I know you're going to come in. The biggest thing I will say is no team could have had the extent of injuries. I get them. I get the lack of investment. I agree with the lack of investment. I agree that we should have got midfielders last year. I think we should have got midfielders in January. Like, did we need another forward? Did we not? All that can come into it. However, no team could have challenged for the league with the extent of our injuries, and specifically, for example, in attack. Like, straight away, if you start to look at like other teams, so the same way, like, start to take off players from other teams, right? Like, take off Foden, take off Mahrez, take off Alvarez. City ain't challenging just with Haaland on his own, right? United, take off Rashford, take off, I'm not going to take off Weghorst because he does that to himself, but like, take off, take off a few of those. I would love to see Man United challenging, like Arsenal, they lost Gabriel Jesus, sure. Now take off Martinelli, keep Saka because we've got Salah, take off Martinelli, take off Trossard, and let's see what they would do, like it would be Nketiah and that element of it is like, it's been really sad and frustrating to see the best Liverpool team of our lifetime, or modern Liverpool team, have like a season like this. And it is over, to Dan's point. Like, we do need to transition. Like, it's not coming back to life in this form. Like, there is going to be like 3-4 new signings, and it's really sad way to sign off. But all isn't lost, and we do really need to all come together and aim for that Champions League spot.
Completely.
Yeah. No, actually, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say,
Yeah.
have injuries played a part? And I think you just answered that. So yeah, because I agree with you. I think a lot of a lot of the results have been from that, right? Not having the depth or rushing Gakpo in, or I mean Nunez is early red, and all that kind of stuff. It just rhythm doesn't seem to build, and it doesn't help that obviously the other parts of the team, like the midfield and press and all that kind of stuff, have sort of a little bit dropped off at the same time. So it's kind of like a lot of like a myriad of factors have contributed towards this sort of thing. And
So do
if
you
you
know
had
when
to, let's say, yeah, sorry, no, I was
so
going to say,
you know when I'm
if you
talking,
had to take
sorry,
that
I know you guys.
Diaz, like if you have that Diaz injury, if that didn't happen, let's just say that didn't happen, Diaz with Partey, right? I mean, let's just say, to me, we're in the top four already. Like that's just what I think. But I mean, I could be, there's obviously issues we have. I'm just saying. Yeah.
No, you got to play the season as it is. But listen to this. In that 12 games I'm talking about, Liverpool had the most horrendous start to any calendar year in our history. And at that time, not only was Oxlade-Chamberlain starting every game, and I got love for the Ox, like I have no issues with him. He's been a great servant for us. But like, not only was Ox playing, he was playing in attack. Like he wasn't even playing in his position. So while we were in that like awful form at the start of the season, where we at the start of this calendar year where we couldn't buy a win, which is in that 12 games, by the way. So let's just say Ox isn't. So let's just say Ox isn't playing for us in attack, and instead of that, we've got Diaz, Jota, Bobby. Like instead of just Oxlade-Chamberlain playing in attack, would we have picked up one more win? I think so, and that's as many as any point. Would we have picked up 2 wins? That would mean we're the most on-form team over the last half a season. So it's very fickle. It's very on a knife edge. And I, for one, love the parity in the Premier League this season. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be squashing everyone. I got used to that high life, the life that you were talking about earlier, Dan. But as a person who loves football, like I love the fact that the number one team in the last 12 games has only picked up 26 points. So people have that team. I think it's City and United, I think it's City and United. They've been accruing points at like 2.1 something a game over 12 games. That's brilliant for the league. City used to accrue points at like 2.8,
2.6, 7,
over a season. So I do think the fact that like City keep losing, United have lost a few. There was a minor blip for Arsenal. They look like they've got going again. I do think from a league perspective, it's good. But overall, like I'm excited to see how this season finishes off.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of like interesting moments of like these matches, like even just the Real match that we just had. Just the weird things in football. Did you think like the top 5 keepers in the world would be making those 2 mistakes on each side of the fence? Like there's just so many weird nuances, to say the least. And you're right, like the parity is great. It's way closer. Is it more competitive? Did like, because of that situation with players, is it more competitive? Yes. Like the mistakes, yes, but it's nice. It's weird, right? Like you're kind of on the edge of your seat because you really don't know what's going to happen and who's going to make the mistake, who's going to screw up, what's going to happen. So then, again, like when's the last time you've seen a goalie, apart from Karius and whatever else and all that stuff, but on both sides, like top 5 goalies make those kinds of mistakes. Like it's just, I've never seen that.
It speaks to nerves, I think, and you wouldn't think, right, with those 2 quality keepers. I mean, they played in the Champions League final about almost like a year back. But I think that I think we, like when I say we, I mean I think Liverpool, the way that match went, and I don't know if you guys are at the same way. Obviously, the second half wasn't the same performance, but I felt on balance like we just totally outplayed them. I mean, aside from that one mark of brilliance. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the first half, right? Really outplayed them, and then the marking and everything else, and but if you think about the other 3 goals in the second half, okay, so the one from the corner is one thing, but then the other 2 are errors, right? Like straight errors, mistimed tackles, didn't take the cheap yellow, or take a yellow, professional yellow, like that sort of stuff. It's like, if those things are even just executed upon, maybe it's 4-2, maybe it's 3-2. And also that other goal at 2-0. So, I mean, like, again, football's a game of chance, but I think, like, I think it's extremely harsh on us, that result. I thought it was much closer than that. And even though, yeah, you can say Real's class and class. Yeah, okay, well, they had a couple of elements of class breaking out of a press. Okay. And they finished it. Okay, like that's class. But I don't know, man. I kind of beg to differ when we were totally outplayed. Like, no, I don't think so. And I think that's what Jurgen even said after the match. I think he's drawn some confidence out of it. Now, can we rescue anything away? That begs to be seen. But I don't know. Yeah.
Jake, where you at with what Dan just said in terms of like Real Madrid? Like, how are you feeling about that?
I mean, one thing that's very interesting, and like, I played a bit of footy in my day. What's interesting is that, like, he's such a stalwart with his being Klopp. He's such a stalwart with his system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes when I would play, and depending on the team we would play, if you're playing against a team that's parking the bus, you're doing this, whatever the case is, we would be a strong squad regardless of the fact. But then sometimes if things aren't going well, we would switch. You go 4-4-2. You change the formations, and I'm kind of shocked that sometimes when we don't have the level of urgency, that we don't switch things around a little bit just to kind of shake things up. You're already down 5-2, like try something for the last 5 minutes, whatever else. But I think sometimes we're just so like predictable on some pieces, and that's what Ancelotti's notion is as well. Like, I know how they're going to play. They're going to move the ball this way. They're going to come back in. They're going to use the flanks. This is how it's going to happen. They're going to overlap, and that's basically their game from that perspective. And they'll press moments, and then when you play against a team like Real from that perspective, like every single person's got a good level of class and technicality. So what that means is that in the Prem, there's a bit of a disparity, but in those places, they can make that turn, they can make that touch pass, they can do that, they can create space for themselves, and then within one or two passes, we're opened up from that perspective. I was hoping that, okay, if you're going down this path and you're already 4-2 down, like try something, that would be my piece. And again, such as an armchair kind of like fan, I would like to see him kind of take a risk here and there to see if there's a change and kind of reinvigorate the team in the moment. Especially at Anfield, I was like, shit, like what is going on right now from that perspective? After the 2-0 up, we were like, holy crap, like I cannot believe this just happened. Fine, we did some nonsense, but we had a good piece. And then when it was not going well, I was like hoping that he would just, in the 75th minute or 80th minute, like try something, like move something around.
But did you think that he did take a risk though by actually trying to go for it? Right, like a lot of pragmatic coaches would just say, like, you know what, 4-2, I think we're getting outplayed here, or let's say 3-2. Maybe not 3-2. Klopp would still go at 3-2, but at 4-2, manage it a little bit, right? Like maybe bring another player into the mid. Maybe don't risk as much going forward. But I think he did sort of think about it like that. But I get your point, which is like risk it by changes to the system rather than risk it by pushing men forward and committing, let's say, Trent or Robbo and stuff like that, right? So I get that. But
point. Even on the player perspective, I want to say, like, one thing, like people harp on Trent quite a bit, like he's shitty on defense, whatever the case is. But what I did like with Alba, he had a spur under his like ass that day, and like I know he didn't, but he ran around, he tried, like he tried.
Yeah,
he was under the thing. He was trying to tackle, he was trying to move, he was trying to run. He was in positionally not in the great spots, but because the game was already lost from that perspective, so he was running around a little bit, and I wanted that fire to be with the other buggers, right, collectively, and be like, okay, mofos, like we are. We are Liverpool. Let's go. Let's try. We have 10 minutes left. Like, do your thing, kind of thing. And I was a bit disappointed with respect to that. Maybe we're a bit naive. Did we get? Was our shoulders slumped and we're finished now? So, nevertheless, I was just hoping for a bit of spirit from that perspective. But we were flat in the second half.
Yeah. What do you think, Azaz? I mean, can we rescue anything away at the
Bernabeu? I'm usually very optimistic, and I'm at worst, I will be cautiously hopeful, I guess I would say. Like, we've been through Istanbul, we've been through Borussia Dortmund, we've been through Barcelona, and that's just three. examples. There's so many other examples. So I think we have a really special kinship with the Champions League, but obviously Real Madrid have an even more special kinship with the Champions League, and I can deal with that. I would just never ever write us off because games turn within a blink of an eye. Is there as much? I know it's going to be on their ground. I understand that, but is there as much of a on paper variance between the team that will start in the Bernabeu versus Real Madrid versus the team that started the second half in Istanbul versus that AC Milan team? Absolutely not. Like our team are full of Premier League and Champions League winners. They're not on form. Their confidence is not high. However, like it's not people who would never play for the club again. You know, you look back to Istanbul and like how many people never played for Liverpool again. You know, from like Traore, Smitsa, Haman, Biscan, all of them. So my point is that Real could come out and beat us 3-0 and it could be 8-2 on aggregate. But if we get the first goal and then get a penalty in our way, like then it's suddenly like, what have you got? You know. So
do you know what? What though? I'll just on that point. Like I feel the one stark difference, and I don't know if you noticed this as well, is that when is the last time that you can think of, because you guys both watch a lot of footy, when is the last time that Real have been rattled and not responded? That's where I'm a little bit more pessimistic, because you're right. We could easily go up 2-0 like we did. But the element of class that I think that they bring is that they just don't get rattled. Now, a red might change the tie, like, you know, or like something like that might actually offset maybe an injury to keep up, whatever. But that's the question I want to throw at you. When's the last time that you can think of that Real being really rattled and they've like basically choked? I mean, it's hard to put them, because they seem to have this belief, this uncanny sort of unconscious. I don't really maybe I can't even articulate it. Like it's like remember when they wore like the 14 shirts? Remember that?
Yeah.
Like that was so arrogant.
Yeah.
And that should have done something for that karma, but it just didn't. But it didn't. You know what I mean? Like it just somehow like they.
I mean, we can draw on our history. I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of Real. They're cool, they're calm, they're calculated,
and I think
they're very confident. I'll give you one example. So and it's back to like that mid-2000 era Milan, who were a phenomenal world-class team. So they in the first leg of the quarterfinal in the 2004 Champions League, they went to Deportivo La Coruña. No, sorry, it was at home first. So at the San Siro, it was 4-1 to Milan. AC Milan versus Deportivo La Coruña. Some people are going to watch this show and not even know who that team is, right? But they were a big team at the start of the 2000s. They actually
I knew
won the
somebody played on that
championship.
team, by the way. I actually knew somebody from here.
Wow,
anyway,
very cool.
But
anyway. Yeah, so they were the champions in around 2000. And anyway, 2004, perennial Champions League qualifiers. And they, at quarterfinal in the San Siro, it was 4-1 to Milan. And in the second leg at Deportivo Stadium, the Rialto, they won 4-0. And it was insane, right? Unheard of, unpredictable. And we're Liverpool. And I know that's Real Madrid, but that was AC Milan. So, like, I'm not saying we're favorites. I'm not going to say we're going to do it. I'm not rah-rah, like, it's not blind optimism, because I'm actually not saying we're going to win, but I'm not writing us off either.
Yeah,
you know, like
never
the game. Yeah, the game is the game. You know, if we are able to like hit them on a counter attack early on, or like we get a bit of jam, just like Benzema did, where it's not even going in and it hits Gomez and wrongs foot Courtois. We'll see. And you know, if we're able to score the first goal, if you know, like it's all if and buts. I'm very, very happy about our current not conceding too many goals in the Premier League. Obviously, they blew that out of the water. There was a big Alisson mistake, to your point. There was a bit of jam elsewhere as well, deflections and stuff. So I'm very happy about that. But I'm excited. Look, the bigger thing as well is we won. Oh, Siri wants to get in on the conversation as well. Here's what I do like, that despite the fact that we aren't going for the big titles this year, I do like that what's coming up is Man United, then Bournemouth, Real Madrid, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. Okay, then there's like Leeds, Forest, West Ham, who I'm not going to underestimate because we need all those 3 points. But then it's like Tottenham. So like there's so many big matches to still get excited for that I can't not be excited. You know, like it's one thing to like go into them needing to win and expecting to win, but the fact that we are having this run as the weather turns here in Toronto, and it's going to be like, you know, longer days, the temperature cranks up a little bit as well. I do think we can still get a bit of that carnival atmosphere back on.
I think so.
Back in our club as well. You know, like get everyone out again at Elephant and Castle and just have some really fun times in the spring.
Absolutely,
completely
looking forward to it.
So, just looking at the time, we've got two quick things I do want to talk about, and then we'll sign out for this week. So, firstly, Dan, give us a shout out on what's the exciting thing coming on March the 22nd.
So so the Anfield Wrap, TAW, as they're known, TAW, Toronto, I should say. It's actually the first stop on the North American tour. It's all your favorites from across the pond. So be there. I mean, we are close to selling out, I think, somewhere in that range. We have
tickets
are
going fast.
Coming.
Yeah.
Tickets are going fast. But it's a great atmosphere. It's great to meet other fellow family members, as I call them, which are Liverpool fans, and obviously folks who are well known in the fan base, who obviously have a great expertise, but also are just friendly folks. You know, like they're really cool, friendly folks, and hopefully folks watching can partake and call us out on our BS that we talk on this channel. You know, come by, say, you know what, Fernandez, that was absolute. You know what, but then back it up with something, right? Just don't say that or come with a banner.
And finally, Jake, you can take us home by giving us yet another teaser, because we don't know if everyone knows, but something else special is coming up.
I mean, there's going to be a legend.
Whoa! What's that can right there? What's that can right there?
Could it be this guy? You know, could it be someone else? You know, we're gonna have. Are they blonde? Are they bald? You know, what are they? You know,
who is it? Hashtag who is it?
Hashtag who is it? But a member, a legend of the LFC community, is going to be in Toronto for pretty much a week. 2 games at the Elephant Castle. So please do watch out on our socials for lots of fun things for that day and that week. Again, you know, it's really great that we're going to have someone from across the pond here from that. You know, we have Anfield Wrap, and then we're going to have a legend. But again, who is it?
Is it Naby Keita? Naby Keita?
Look
Naby? Is Naby coming? Is Naby coming? If Naby's coming, I'm there.
Look out for clues. Like that's how I say.
You're gonna be, Dan. You're gonna be there anyway. Trust me. You know that.
So we've got, you know, collectively we've got a lot of good things happening. So it's great, just great to be a Liverpool Toronto fan. In Sly Fox as well as Elephant Castle. We've got an away day coming up as well. So we're going to have a trip to Sly Fox bus trip. So there's a few things we are also working on for the summer. Could there be a dunk tank? Could this happen? Could there be other things? So lots of stuff going on. Anyways, that's all I'm going to
love that.
I'll stop there. Could we go to Niagara for a wine tasting?
Whoa.
Who knows what's going
to happen? Whoa. Easy there.
We've got some things for the members planned, and let's see how that goes. But anyways, Who knows? Who
could it be?
I'm going to wrap us up there. We are back. We'll be back. We're going to be doing this back on the regular again. Give us a shout if you also want to be on the show, because once again, we want to get this like last spot filled in as well. That's us for us. We don't need to say any more. See you on Sunday, everyone. Peace.